I have your attention, please? BOAC announced the departure of their Boeing 707 jet service 900 for London.
It had a special sound and had a special smell and had a special sort of movement, and it was just an aircraft that you just loved.
It was a far more sturdy aircraft. It just felt safe.
Much, much quieter than Comets and Britannias.
The nice thing I used to think about 707 were the routes that we flew on.
Ladies and gentlemen, we should be landing in Sydney in 5 minutes.
Australia, New Zealand, we went across the Pacific, we did Honolulu, east and west coast of America, Tokyo. In fact, we did all the world routes.
If we did a round the world trip, that trip would last 3 weeks with stopovers.
You always got a day off, practically everywhere you got off the aircraft.
We really had a great time during these 3 weeks.
Very, very good quality hotels.
You were invited to embassy dues, here in London film premieres, and always made sure you had your little black dress in your suitcase and a pair of heels.
I personally carried several well-known celebrities.
Rod Steiger,
Nina Simone,
Trevor Howard,
Telly Savalas, Kojak.
We had the Monkees, had the Beatles.
We carried John Lennon and Paul McCartney to New York.
Ladies and gentlemen, you may now unfasten your seatbelts and smoke if you wish. We shall be serving you with cocktails and lunch and afternoon tea.
We usually had 6 cabin crew. There was a chief steward, steward 1, steward 2, an A lady, a B lady and a C lady.
You had to be not too tall. Glasses were not really approved of. You really had to have a great pair of legs. So they wanted educated women to a great extent, and you had to look good at the same time. We used to have a wonderful day during the training when Elizabeth Arden came out and taught us how to look after our makeup. I didn't really like long hair, so many of the girls who were quite determined to keep their lovely long tresses would put their hair up and wear a wig. We had a lot of wig dramas and hair dramas.
120.5, good morning.
The ventilation, air conditioning in the flight deck was pretty poor. It was squashed, it was cramped. They were busy days. And of course, you know, the fatigue at the end of it was quite massive.
One flight, one of the cabin crew members wore a pedometer, and during a flight from London to New York, she'd actually walked 7 miles.
Can I have the name, please?
Mrs. Campbell.
The 707 introduced mass airline travel.
Flying was still far more of an adventure, and people had to save up for it especially.
People approach flying in a very different way. You know, people still got dressed up, and you saw people arriving on flights as if they were going out for dinner. And
in both classes the food was good, and of course the first class it was absolutely wonderful. We used to carve a roast. Well, today you can't take a knife on board, so that's out. Well, we used to start with canapes and cocktails and things, and then you'd have your first course, you'd have beluga caviar, all the ancillaries, or lobster or smoked salmon, and then there would be the soup, and then there was the salad, and then there was the main course, and then there was the sweet and the cheese and the food, and the coffee and liqueurs. So it was all beautifully presented.
Both myself and my younger sister became members of the Junior Jet Club, and we received this lovely book with the BOAC emblem on the front. The journeys always had something that was exciting or interesting about them. They were never quite as mundane as I think some flights are today. Very often, because I had a Junior Jet Club book, I always tried to get the logbook signed by the captain and would try and blag my way onto the flight deck. Whilst I was up there, the captain said, would I like to stay on the flight deck when they landed, which, you know, of course I did. And it was just fantastic in the jump seat behind the captain. I was really delighted that they kind of gave me the opportunity to do that. Again, something I don't think that would happen again now.
was a lovely aeroplane to fly on, and in its day, very spacious. Passengers liked it. Our cabin service arguably was possibly the best in the world.
It was a very nice airplane to fly. I certainly enjoyed flying it.
I only flew on 707s, the elite fleet.